Hello readers, and welcome back to Tell Between Tales. Today we are going to go over January through May, the books that I have received or are coming out within my Illumicrate and my Owlcrate subscription. We are also going to be touching briefly on the broken binding, so stay tuned to see all of the beautiful books. All right, so our real quick review, or rather update on the broken binding, is that I actually was offered a position on the broken binding subscription, which I sadly turned down. And I was surprised that I got in so quickly. I was expecting to wait for like a year because that's what I had been hearing the wait list was, and I was at spot 7,200 and something. And I was offered it at the end of January, but the picks that they chose was called the Rook and the Rose trilogy, which is these books. And this is a fantasy series that has very strong LGBTQ plot lines and characters. And that is something that I am really just not interested in. And if I'm going to be spending over $100 on a series, I want it to be something that I'm going to enjoy. I turned it down and I just got back on the wait list, and I am hoping, my fingers are crossed, that I can get in this month in April when they send out their invite. Thinking of how quickly I was offered a position last time, my fingers are crossed. They are doing the Magician's trilogy by Raymond E. Feist, starting with Magician's Apprentice. And this is definitely right up my alley. So I'm really hoping to be able to get in. I'm a little unsure. I'm at spot 6,800-ish. And I've been on the list for about 3 months, whereas before I was on the list for 4 months. Maybe I'll get lucky. But I did also get offered an invite to their sci-fi list, which is an every other month subscription, and I did accept that one. So they are starting with a book called Doomsday Book by Connie Willis, and this one is kind of like a historical fiction sci-fi book put together, where you have someone in the future who goes to the past through a time machine, and they go to the era of the Black Plague, and they get stuck there. And so it's kind of like their experience living in this time period. And so I really enjoy historical fictions as well. I think this one's going to be a lot of fun. Opinions seem to be kind of split. It has really good reviews overall. Some people just absolutely love it, and some people think it's just way too long and boring. So, you know, everybody's got different opinions. So I guess we'll find out pretty soon whether or not I like it. So, but I'm excited and I'm looking forward to that as well. So without further ado, we are going to start looking at the gorgeous books. Now, I've sadly given my corner bookshelf to my boys. I suppose they needed it more than I did. But I am trying to jerry-rig some solution, and this isn't the best solution. I'll keep trying to figure something out. Maybe I'll just install some corner shelves in here. But starting with January, Owlcrate and Illumicrate actually chose the very same book for their adult subscription. Now, Illumicrate only has one. They don't have a YA and an adult. They just have fantasy, and sometimes you get YA books and sometimes you get adult books. But they both chose Watermoon. And I decided to go with the Illumicrate edition because I think that their books are a little bit better quality. And also I hadn't gotten a book from them in a while. And that is this one right here. So this is the naked hardback. Now, Watermoon is a book that has often been cited as kind of like a Ghibli movie type of a book, where it is inspired, I think it takes place in Japan. And you see all the cranes and all the paper folding crane art on here. And it is a story about a girl who runs a shop where you can go and you can sell your regrets. Of course, this whole adventure ensues as a very important item is stolen from the shop, and then she meets up with this stranger and they have to go on this adventure to reclaim it. And also she's trying to find her father, and it looks like it's going to be a really good time. I'm actually quite excited to read this one. And Illumicrate does an amazing job with their books all around. I think that they have the most beautiful naked hardbacks of all of the subscription services. And they have absolutely gorgeous interior artwork on the front and the back. And I do think that they go above and beyond a lot of the other subscriptions. I know at least with Owlcrate, sometimes they just have like a pattern on the inside versus the customized artwork. and I really, really enjoy the customized artwork. This one does not have anything on the inside of its dust jacket. A lot of times they do. This time they chose not to do that, but if you put the slipcase on, this is also a very beautiful slipcase, and I really enjoy this one, and I think that one is very, very gorgeous. For February, I skipped both of my Owlcrate YA and adult subscriptions, and the reason for that is because the February adult book was The Wooing of the Witch Queen, which, as you can tell right off, is a very strong romantasy book, and I was not interested in that at all. I was like, nope, this is not for me, and so I went ahead and skipped that. And it kind of makes me a little bit upset when these book box subscriptions, because romantasy is so popular right now, most of these book box subscriptions have a romantasy subscription separate from their fantasy. And so I'm like, why don't you put all of the romantasy books in there where they belong and leave fantasy open for something that's not romantasy or has a lighter romantic plot in it, and it's not just hardcore romantasy. But romantasy is super, super popular, so you just can't seem to get away from it. It's gonna leak its way into everything. Not that I really have anything really against romantasy, it's just that I don't think that the stronger romantasy books are my style. And the YA book that I skipped is called The Beasts We Bury, which is also a romantasy book. And the tagline for this one is "Deceit and betrayal abound in this dark YA romantasy, about an heir to the throne who can summon an army of animals and a thief who plans to manipulate her to pull off a once-in-a-lifetime heist." So this one I just didn't think sounded like it was my style. Two people playing off of each other, one's going to betray them. It's all kind of about the romance between the two main characters. And I'm sure there's other stuff that goes on too, but I just didn't think that it was going to be a book that I wanted to spend $40+ on. And also, while I have these 3 subscriptions right now, I'm kind of really trying to only pick one book a month for obvious budgeting reasons. I think that, I'm very fortunate that I am able to subscribe to these book box subscriptions and get books, but that doesn't mean that I can afford like 8 of them every single month. And so the one that I did get was from Illumicrate again, and that is Capitana, which is this one. And this is by Cassandra James. And we have a lovely map on the front with all of the gold embossing for the words and the lovely sprayed edges. So this book is a piratey seafaring book, and we follow a young girl who is trying to capture an infamous pirate in order to receive a prestigious position in the community as a pirate hunter, or like a privateer. However, with her past, because she's the daughter of some very famous pirates who were put to death for their crimes, she has like a black strike on her record, and so she's not getting the promotions and the appointments that she should be getting, even though she is like the best. And so she goes off on this quest to hunt down these pirates that are super dangerous, but the government's like, okay, but you have to take this guy along with you. And he is the son of the High Minister, and he's like super hot-headed and prideful and really infuriating, right? And so this is going to be another one of those enemies to lovers, I'm sure. I didn't quite look at all the taglines, but we've got them sitting on their ship right here together, and they're smiling at each other here. So I think it's going to be enemies to lovers. So I think this is going to be one of those books that leans much more towards the action and adventure with a kind of romantasy subplot that's maybe more prominent than in regular fantasy, which is totally fine. And I think that one's going to be fun. And I forgot to talk about the January Owlcrate. Also in January, I received the Owlcrate Young Adult subscription, and that one is the Scorpion Queen. And this is what the naked hardback looks like, and this is the back. So you can kind of see the difference in quality between Owlcrate, and over here we have Illumicrate. Now I think Owlcrate puts a little bit more effort into their adult fantasy versus their young adult fantasy subscriptions, but this is still very nice, and I think it looks great. So this one is called The Scorpion Queen, and it is by Mina Fears. And as you can see, this is what I was talking about with the insides of the Owlcrate books. I mean, while it's still very, very pretty, it's not taking advantage of this space to put unique artwork from the story in here. So they just have kind of a generic, while it's specific to the book, it's just on the front and the back, it's going to be the same thing for the end papers. And while it's pretty, I still much prefer the artwork from the actual story itself. And they have more of that type of stuff in their adult books, which we will see here pretty soon with the March book. But they did a nice job with the sprayed edges. I've noticed that Owlcrate is getting further away from just spraying the edges a solid color, and they're doing a lot better job with the stenciled and digital sprayed edges as well. This one does come with a ribbon. Not all of them come with a ribbon, but some of them do. And so this book is about a girl who was framed for something that she didn't do, and she ends up as a servant to the princess. The princess has her own conundrum because her father has designed all of these trials for her future husband, and if they can't get through all of these trials, then they're not worthy to marry her. And so far there's been like 99 deaths so far, and so she is getting closer. Our main character, whose name is Amy, is getting closer and closer to the princess, and she meets her love interest, and then she has to decide if she's going to try to run away and escape with her love interest or stay back and help the princess. And so this one looks like it could be a lot of fun. Takes place, I believe, in Egypt. Actually, it takes place in Timbuktu. And I am looking forward to reading this one as well. So the last book I have to show you is the March pick. Now, I skipped the Illumicrate pick for March, which was The Prince Without Sorrow. And as you can see, the tags, there are a lot of queer and LGBTQ tags on this one, so which basically means it's an automatic skip for me. And I also skipped the YA selection of the Owlcrate because of very similar reasons, basically the exact same reasons, which makes it easy to skip. So I did get the Owlcrate March book, and that one is called Upon a Starlit Tide by Kel Woods. And the naked hardback is right here. And as you can see, the naked hardback for this one is similar in style to the other Owlcrate YA one. And a lot of their naked hardbacks are like this with all the embossing on them rather than the printed covers that you tend to see on the Illumicrate ones. And then while, you know, this is still very pretty, I like the printed covers a little more. I think Illumicrate still beats out Owlcrate in the overall design of their stories. However, this book, Upon a Starlit Tide, is a fairy tale reimagining. It is not a retelling. And the last two books that I read that were fairy tale reimaginings, I really enjoyed. And those would be The Bear and the Nightingale and Spinning Silver. So I'm also hoping that I'm going to really like this one. This one is advertised as a Cinderella meets the Little Mermaid crossover. And this one, you can see they did do artwork on the inside of the cover and on the back of the cover. Very kind of ooh la la. Some of the scenes that Owlcrate chooses to portray in their books, I'm kind of like, really? This is what you chose? Like, they tend to sometimes pick some very weird scenes to have the artwork for. This does have artwork on the inside of the slipcover, and this I think is the prettiest artwork in the whole installment. And then here is the cover. And so this one, I was almost thinking I might skip this one, but some of the early reviews that came out said it was had a great twist on all of the fairy tale tropes, and that it was just done really, really well. And so I am definitely willing to give it a chance because I have enjoyed the last few fairy tale reimaginings that I have read. So that is all the books that I have to show you, but just real quick, I wanted to let you know what is coming up for April. I have renewed for April for Illumicrate. They are doing a book called The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. And the little blurb for this book says, "Let us fly now to the empire of Orun, where after 24 years of peace, Burson the Brusque must end his reign. In the dizzying heat of midsummer, 7 contenders compete to replace him. They are exceptional warriors, thinkers, strategists, the best of the best, until one of them is murdered. It falls to Nima Kra, the Emperor's brilliant, idiosyncratic high scholar, to find the killer before the trial's end. To do so, she must untangle a web of deadly secrets that stretches back generations, all while competing against 6 warriors with their own dark histories and fierce ambitions. Nima believes she is alone, but we are here to help. All she has to do is let us in." I find this very intriguing, so I'm going to go ahead and get it. It has a lot of the tags that I'm interested in. I have skipped both of the books for Owlcrate, which are Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reed, which is an LGBTQ book, so automatically skipping. And the adult book is just one that I am really not interested in. It is called Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. And this one is like the owner of this huge corporation has died, and his 4 children have to contend for the fortune, and each one of them has a specific reason why they need it. And I think each of them has like a specific talent or a gift, and then it's like this big competition to get the money. And somebody's interested in that. Somebody will read it and somebody will enjoy it. And then looking ahead to May, I will be skipping both Owlcrate books again because the YA book is called Salvation, which is basically a Zorro retelling, only from, instead of Zorro being male, we now have a female protagonist. And while I absolutely love the movie Zorro with Antonio Banderas, I'm just really not interested in reading a female retelling of Zorro. And the adult pick is called Modern Divination, which is a romantasy book with the LGBTQ tag, and that's kind of 2 strikes. And so I am going to, however, be getting the Illumicrate's May book, which is finally epic fantasy. Yes! And it's the first installment in a new series, and it is called A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Einady. And this book is about a big war that has been going on with like the evil empire, and then you have like the freedom fighters, and the empire has decided that these freedom fighters have been fighting for long enough. They're going to go and wipe them out. But amongst the freedom fighters, we have one of them that can summon this really, really powerful spirit to help fight with them. They can summon their ancestors, but it's like, oh, but not all spirits are friendly, and so things go awry, and it gets chaotic, and nothing goes the way it's supposed to. So that's kind of a really fast summary that doesn't really give you a whole lot of detail about what this book is about. But I am intrigued by it, and so I'm going to be getting it. Now, I am kind of bummed I haven't gotten to reading any of these books yet this year, so this is actually my May goal, is to read through all of my Illumicrate and Owlcrate book box books that I have received this year, because it's very important for me to know if I like these books, if I want to continue with my subscription or not. And so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed seeing the books. I hope you found something that piqued your interest. Let me know if there's anything that I skipped that I shouldn't have skipped, or what you think. Thank you very much. Bye.